Hi everyone, my name is Carlin and I am making this video because I would like to help some people on a train to stop smoking. I have been a smoker for over 10 years. I had initially started smoking cigarettes, and the crazy thing was is that before I first began that, I was totally against smoking. I was totally against um, the thought of smoking, and I didn't understand why other people did it. But it came to a point where I initially started smoking because something traumatic happened in my life, and I felt like I couldn't deal with it any other way. And so I tried smoking once and regretted it ever since. So I smoked cigarettes for a long period of time. And then after that, I had stopped smoking cigarettes during COVID and transferred over to smoking the vape like that was any better. But anyway, the reason why I had stopped smoking the cigarettes during COVID was because of it was a respiratory illness, and there was a risk there from me continuing to smoke, so I stopped smoking. So I stopped smoking those for a while, and then I started vaping. When I started vaping, yes, some of the things that come with smoking cigarettes went away, like the hard coughing and the raspy voice and things like that had went away. But then I was still putting toxins in my body. And so I smoked the vape for the next 5 or 6 years, and then I had my spiritual awakening. Now, when I had my spiritual awakening, I felt like I needed to do more things that would benefit not only my physical health, but my spiritual health. So I decided to quit smoking the vape. It was a very challenging process, I would say. At first, it took me quite a few times to try to stop it. I had tried multiple things, and it just wasn't working for me. But with the willpower and the right to make the right choices for my life, I decided that the best thing to do was to stop smoking a vape. So, just a timeline of initially what happens when you smoke the vape is that the first 3 days were like the hardest for me. Like I had started over several times within the first 3 days because that's the first time that your body like is trying to get used to not uh wanting to smoke. And so first 3 days I had to start over a few times, but then after that, and I decided finally that I was going to do better for myself, I finally quit it. And then once I got to the fifth day mark, I was very excited because I've been smoking for years and years and years, and they talk about how difficult it is to stop smoking. So I initially, what happened to me, and I think that this is what happened, made it the best, was that when I thought about the reason why I started smoking and started looking at that reasoning first before just quitting, because just putting it down physically wasn't really helping me stop smoking. What really helped me stop smoking is me thinking about why I was doing it and attaching the cause to the effect of the reason why I smoked for so long. And once I figured that out, that helped me decrease the amount of wanting to smoke a vape again. And I think that a lot of times we try to do it on our own, but they build these chemicals in these devices so that your neurotransmitters are connected together, so you will have these huge withdrawals if you try to quit. And that's addicted initially what a drug is for. So I think that essentially overall, making the best choice health wise for the vape for me was the best thing for me to do, because it isn't healthy. I had came up with all these different reasons about why should be okay for me to smoke, but initially there is no reason, there is no good reason to keep smoking cigarettes, or keep smoking vapes, or keep smoking lots of things, because it isn't beneficial to the body. And it also isn't beneficial cost wise. You know, if I add up all the amount of money that I spent over time with smoking and nicotine and things like that, that's a numerous amount of money that I spent over time. So I'm saving a lot of money by quitting that addiction. And it's very important to do because if the money that is being dispensed is really isn't benefiting me by spending it on something that doesn't benefit my health or benefit my lifestyle, my new lifestyle anymore, then I'm just wasting money, you know. So these are things that I had, you know, thought about when I was trying to stop the smoking and eventually continued, you know, along that path, not smoking. What I would say if you are deciding to stop smoking, because I do recommend that for everyone, is to, like I said, start with the root of the problem. Try to figure out what happened that started you to start smoking, and start trying to heal that particular circumstance. Change your perspective as the way you looked at that circumstance, and really just forgive yourself, give yourself grace, because I had to give myself grace for the reason why I had did it. You know, it was pertaining to a situation with me and another person, and I just kind of, you know, blame that situation on, you know, my addiction, the reason why I caught up with this addiction. But essentially it was it was my responsibility to make sure that, you know, I treated that particular situation a different way other than going to, you know, smoke a cigarette, because that didn't help. And then it also didn't help for me to put the cigarettes down and then to move over just to a different mechanism of of smoking, which is the vaping, because it didn't matter, I'm still smoking, you know. So I would say that you know, starting with the root of the problem will help you in terms of if you are trying to go cold turkey. Now, I have tried different things that were pertaining to like gummies, and I never tried the patches or anything, but a lot of people said that those things don't work for them, you know. But it's because, again, it's like you're trying to force yourself to do things that are physical when it's really a mental thing. You know, every time you're addicted to something, it's really mental, you know. So if you deal with the mental part of it, you can conquer lots of things, you know. So I would say that starting with the mental part of it would be important to do. um Telling your forgiving yourself and giving yourself grace for making those different decisions, and then moving forward step by step. Now, like I said, it took me a few times to stop, you know, because I would say that my ego was getting in the way. You know, over this spiritual awakening journey is me trying to dissolve my ego so that I can move forward spiritually. And so normally what happens is that you when you're changing over to trying to be a better person, your ego will step in and try to keep you in that same spot. And so, you know, when I would try to stop doing it, my ego would step in and say, "Hey, you know what we doing? We've been doing this for over, you know, a decade. You know, why? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? You know, it doesn't care if it's not good for me. It doesn't care about that. You know." So, trying to, you know, figure out how I can overpower my ego, because you are really the controller of your mind. And so I had to make sure that, you know, I took the right steps forward to changing my life versus letting my ego take over and change it for me. So that's another thing that I would just keep keep in mind, because and it's not just with addictions, just with anything that you're trying to do. Was you trying to work out and lose weight and stuff, your ego literally will step in and say, "Oh, well, you're trying to be a different person, you know. No, we, you know, that's not, we're not doing that." You know. So I think that it really helped me to be honest with myself, be honest with the reason why I was doing certain things, and just to get dissolve them for the better me. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. But yeah, it was all about being better for 2025. Be better for yourself and do better with your health. Have a good day. Bye.